How you doing, everybody? Got to put these things. My glasses keep slipping down. There we go. We're all set. What is this? Okay. Good. Whoop. Hello, all. Hi, Bright Belly, Marco, Ahmed, Brian, Owen. Great to see everybody. Graham, Moran, Paul, Dan. Good grief. This is great. Hi, Aloysius, Donald, Richard. Greetings to everybody. Hi, Kirk. Everybody, for those who celebrate it, Merry Christmas and Merry whatever else you have. Okay, doke, guys. Hi, Mario. Boy, a lot of people here. I guess somebody wanted to get away from all the relatives, huh? Sorry, I didn't mean that. Hi, Raymond, V-Raj. Good to see you. Guy, Mario. Okay, let's get a couple updates. We had some, I think, fairly important ones. Hi, Ronan. And I wanted to talk about them. And let's see where we are on both Etude number 2 and Etude number 3. First of all, we got the prototypes for our dials back, and they were way lighter than we had ordered. I talked with Matthew about it, and he told me about some process that he had added to make it look nicer. Okay, opine or something like that. Hang on, let me look it up. He told me what it was, and okay. It's called a plane. It's a silver sandblasting that he had done to it, that he added to it. Well, didn't work out too well. Well, it made it lighter. It made it a lot lighter. Now, he was using on the palettes they have was totally a different kind of palette than I had thought. I mean, like I think of, I worked with Pantone colors for so long that, you know, and some other people have too. They said, oh, well, Pantone, all you got to do is give them a number. Well, that works with Pantone, things that you can have Pantone on, but not everything works with Pantone. So these are special kinds of colors. And hang on, I got a little light in here. There we go. The perfect day for videos, a nice foggy day, overcast day. So anyway, it comes under the category of no good deed goes unpunished. So he's going to work with the guys at Comble Mine and get the color that we want. However, with the five rose-colored ones, some people really liked them. They said, oh boy, you can really see the guilloche a lot better with this, with the more the rose-colored one. So so we have 5, and so I thought, well, why don't we just keep them? I definitely want one. The guys at the Horological Society of New York said, you know, they wanted something unique and like the only watch. And so I thought, well, this would be great. I'll give them one, and they'll have a rose one, and the rest of us will have, except for me, I'll get a rose one too. I have a burgundy run. So there, and some other guys wanted the other ones. So we're all set. So we don't have to worry about that. And I think since those were prototypes, I'll check with Matthew on that. So uh, we'll have the more burgundy Beaujolais or whatever it is on that. Um, so anyway, for those of you who were worried about it, don't worry. We're working to get it darker. I definitely think that we do need to have it darker. The one I want, though, I happen to like the pink, the pink one, the rose one. Okay, enough of that. Hi, Graham and Nigel. How you guys doing? Hater, how are you? Okay. So that's the deal on that. Otherwise, I think that the dial, I really like it. I was looking at some of Kari Voutilainen's dials, and they're very similar in terms of the hour chapter ring and the sort of the way the numbers are and everything. And I thought, well, no wonder these are the guys that make Voutilainen. He owns either part of it or most of it of Comblemont, just like he did with Catton. Catton is an old case company. And so now it's Voutilainen and Catton, and that's because I guess, Voutilainen is pretty good, I guess, at the business part. Okay, any comments, questions, or anything else on that? Hi, Edouards. Bright Belly right now. If somebody changes their mind, yeah, shoot me an email and let me know if you want one of the rose ones. Anyway. Merry Christmas to you, Eduardus. All right. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay. Yeah. Oh, another thing too. Once we actually get the physical dials, they may be a little more toward what we had asked for in the first place. I mean, it's clear as day if we take a look at one of our dials that it's not that one. I mean, in terms of the color. But like I said, some of us said, "Oh, hey, wait a minute, I like it." Okie doke. Any comments or questions or anything on what we're going to do with the dials? Essentially, what will happen is that Matthew will take a look at it. He will say, "Well, we wanted it a little darker than this," and then go back, and then they'll send us, I hope, sort of the production ones. I don't want to. Well, the thing is, I don't want this to jam us up, but I do want to see the right colors for us. Hi, Steve. How you doing? Hater, yeah, it might save a little time. I'll tell you though, you know, as a prototype, I don't think as prototypes as being the production ones. Unless they're incredibly lucky and they have exactly what people want. So yeah, I got some. I've been hitting the eggnog already. Okay. Now the next thing that I wanted to talk about, this is, okay, you got some questions. I think the HSNY should auction the darker dials and not the rose ones, as that will tell us the market picture. Well, Viraj, they wanted something that was different than the other ones. Okay, they wanted something unique, and this isn't a marketing thing. Really, we've got. I appreciate what you're saying, but I think that people would, if they find out that it's one of only 5 out there, I think it'll increase the value of it. So, well, those are good thoughts that you have and a good reasoning. uh, this is not for marketing. I think it's more for, hey, this is this is special. We want to make everybody special, but we can't. We can't even make ourselves special. Okie doke. Let's go on. As I say, moving right along. I didn't want to tie up everybody's morning on Christmas Eve, unless I like to said you're escaping to the family. Uncle Willie and pull my finger and stuff like that. All right. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is Etude number 3 and where we are on that. We got off to a lot of stumbles on the banking. This wasn't Rob's fault. And because Rob and I worked for a good month before we had the first transfer request. And the only problem was we didn't try it internationally. Okay, so he had to browbeat Chase Bank. I don't know why Chase was such a pain in the neck about getting the IBAN number, but we got it. We got the SWIFT number was off by a digit. We got that fixed. So everything with the banking is fixed. I just wanted to let you know on that. Okay, those aren't pink, Graham. They're rose. Hey, Kirk, I'm not sure a charity auction is a sound indicator of the market. I think it's really funny, Kirk. I agree with you. I agree 100%. F.P. Jorn doesn't. he was saying that, well, the only thing that really counts is the only watch market. He said that's the only thing that counts because the GPHD doesn't count anymore, according to F.P. Jordan. If people wonder, he wonders how come people get mad at him. It was no wonder. No, I agree with you, Kirk. I just think it's a great thing, though. I think it's a great thing. Oh, look at Lyrique. They gave this unique watch for the Horological Society of New York, and they're going to take the money and they're going to help kids who are going to horology school or something like this for a scholarship. I think it's a great thing. I really do. And so I hope they do well at it. Also, too, remember we're getting something out of this. It's not much, but we're getting notoriety. But in addition, I forgot his first name. Anyway, the guy who is the executive director of the Horological Society of New York is going to run our watch through the chronometer test, and I think the test is a 3-week test or 15 days. They're going to run that thing for 15 days, and so when they have it, not only will they be able to say that it's a chronometer standard, because I have when mine was put through it came out. He's to quote, he said it passed with flying colors, which was above the chronometer. In fact, the one that the Horological Society has there's one thing that's higher than what CWSC has. So I feel pretty good about that. Having trouble with the video quality. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, Pedro, how you doing? Okay, it's good some places, other places it isn't. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I'll moving right along. Okay, Agenor is starting the design work. Now they call that the study, but what it is that they're designing our new movement for us, and I'm ecstatic about that. And so there are a couple things. It's going to be called the AGH 6850. And the thing about that, it's going to be the first one that they're not using the Fabergé base that we had used for the AGH 6911. Now, what that means, if they have to change the base or add a new base, they can add some things in there specifically for our movement. And I think that's really cool. Charity auctions aren't an indicator of value. It's to raise money for a charity. I have a $300 stuffed carnival giraffe. Okay, Brian. We'll throw it. You get a rose dial and Brian's giraffe. We'll throw that one in. Okay. So anyway, so this I think is they're starting on that, and remember what the last time that I remember that they did this in this way, we started with the first one, and that was very exciting to see. As our movement came into being, and the same, I have that same kind of feeling about this one. Very excited about this. We made the first payment on it. Now the payment for the development was 50,000 Swiss francs, and so it's it's not cheap, but we're getting something I think that's going to be very special. I'm looking forward to it. Viraj, if the E2 case is ready, can we get a picture of the rose dial inside the E2? No. It's not ready yet. I think I gave the schedule on things, I think, last week when things are going to be ready. I'll go check my stuff, Viraj, and but it's not ready yet. Could we do that? I don't know, but people don't want this is not the color we wanted. We wanted a darker burgundy color. So that's what, we're we're going to see. We thought we knew what it actually looked like because we had the rendering by that Matu gave us. And that's what the darker one will look like. I suppose we might do a little Photoshop work and see if we can stick one in there like this and see what it looks like. Yeah, that'd be sort of a fun little project. You're right. But anyway, okay, back to Etude number 3. Okie doke. Oh, good. Yeah, good, Viraj. You can check that. We can see when we have it. I think we're going to have. Maybe we can. Maybe they'll get it there. What we're trying to do though is that we got this cockeyed, not our schedule, but the production schedule. We got the new guys from Made who are sort of going to do the gathering of everything. And I want to talk with them. There's what they have to be, what I've got to make sure that they got to have the pouches. I believe the pouches are already at Agenor. So I'm going to have Agenor give them to this company called Made, they're co-located with Agenor. So that shouldn't be a problem. They're going to have make sure that they have the cases. And then, of course, the dials, and then the hands, and, of course, the movement. And so it's sort of going to be spread out. I think as soon as they have the hands, and I'll have to check on the exact date on that. As soon as they have the hands, then they can start actually producing watches. And so the first 5 are going to be the ones with the rose dial. And then the other ones will have more toward the Burgundy Beaujolais. What we'll do is that, one thing I think, having seen, I'm looking at over here, I have that the rose dial on the screen, is that how clear the Guilloche shows up in this color. In the darker color, it wasn't quite as distinctive. So, what we need to do is I think it should be darker, quite frankly, for everybody, because that's what we wanted. But have it dark enough so that it looks more like a burgundy color, but in such a way that we can see the guilloche as clearly as we can see it. I just love that dial. Okay, I'm assuming we haven't paid Agenor for assembly yet, so no problems there. Well, they haven't designed it yet. Well, that's I think they will be, they're doing the assembly of the movement, not the watch. Yeah, Bright Billy, we haven't. In fact, the only thing we paid so far on Etude number 3, and you can specify whether you're talking about 2 or 3 here. On 3, the only thing we've paid for the 60% of the study, and we paid 40% for Matthew's work. And Matthew this time, beside designing, he's also sort of being our on-site coordinator for getting all of this. So he did that before at no charge, but we, fairly, I think we did. We are being charged for it. I can do a quick color correction on the picture of the dials so we get a feeling. Okay, great, Hater. That'd be cool. Oh, Hater, I tell you, we want to keep those, that slow motion things of yours handy. I think that I know they were done with the movement in Etude number 1, but if we can get some for Etude number 2 before the that we have to put in for the GPHG for Etude number 2, that I think would be really add to it. We've got a 1-minute video that we can attach to our GPHG entry, and then when we can have as long as we want one after that. And what we did for Etude number 1 before they got mad at us for having too good of a watch for the category, we simply expanded it, and then we had a link on the 1-minute one, and then at the end we had a link to our bigger one. Oh, they're doing both of them, Bright Belly. Hi, Henry. Happy holidays to you too. Okay. Hi, Ahmed. Will the pink dials be part of the 100 numbered cases? Ahmed, mine will be. Well, see, we're starting, Ahmed, we're going to have the first 2 are going to be 00. One of the 00s is going to go to GPHG, and that is going to have the correct color, okay, whatever color we end up with. The other 00 is going to the Horological Society of New York. Now, so that's one of the 5. The other 4, one is going to me, one is going to Chris, 1 or 2 is going to Michael. Michael has 2, and he said, I want both of them. So I said, fine. We only had 5, but now some other people want one, and I'll talk to Michael and see if he's willing to have one of each color. I don't know. It was such an unexpected thing, but the thing about it that is, I think, is as a learning process, to me, that's one of the most important things that we can have with this entire experience is learning about it. Carlo and I believe the same thing. He said Pantone is the most reliable because I think so too. So I talked to Matthew about it. He says, well, that may be for certain types of things, but he says not for this. And he showed me the what are they called? PVD or something like that colors. And I looked them up, and they're a totally different set of them. One of which he showed everybody was the rose, and the rose, and he even made a little video showing us what was going on and how the different light affected it and everything. So I think that's really cool. Hi, Henry. If there's enough interest in the rose dowel, could that be an option? I don't think so, Henry. Here's why. We've, boy, it's taken us, it's not us, but it's taken Kumbla Mine forever to get us as where we, I mean, even to get a dial. So what we're going to have to do to keep this train on the track, so to speak, is we're going to have to get the color corrected to the one that we want. And while some of us wanted the rose-colored one, others were adamant about that, and that's fine. They should be, because we wanted a different color. And so the answer, unfortunately, is most likely no. $107. Oh, Viraj, we may have some extra ones. Oh, this is be sort of an interesting thing. If we go, we have to be careful about this. We ordered, oh God, I'll have to go check. We either had 102 or 104 dials. We had all kinds of things. I think the deal was that if Agenor supplied the movements for one for them and one for Matu, they would supply the extra. And so I'm trying to think. And so we had 102, but then if we have the extra ones, I'll have to check on that. But then I thought, well, we don't have to have an extra one. We can, we'll give Matu the GPHG one to wear around. And then if we make nominations, that one can go to the nominations that we have to send in for nominations, and that'll go on a world trip. And then when it comes back, Matu could have his watch back. We'll work something out. Hi, Owen. Did the finishing technique change? Fade the dial from burgundy to pink. It rose. No, what happened, Owen, was that the opine, the silver, the thing that, hang on a second, the one I looked that up for you guys. Where is it now? It was, let's see. Opaline, was that it? Hang on a second. Let me find it again. Okay, it's called Oplalin. 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 And what it is, it's a silver sandblasting. And so that was done with the first one, with the color that Matu had showed them. Now, it turns out that the color was on he shows the one in the middle was sort of looked more like this color rose. It was a sort of a medium colored rose. And then as it went darker, it turns into more of a burgundy color or a Beaujolais color. Well, what we ended up with was white Zinfandel, I think, as a color. But it was done so it's sort of like, well, if we're going to have the opaline, the silver sandblasting, and this is so that the guilloche would stand out more. Doing that may have lightened it, and that was what happened, Owen. And so if that's what it was, then we'll simply say, well, if we can keep the opaline sandblasting, but then have it a little darker so that once it lightens, it'll lighten to the color we want. It's sort of an interesting thing, you know. This was there's so many things that have to be done in a way that you do one thing and it tilts it one way, you do something else, it tilts it the other, and we got to get it tilted just right. But this is what we need to do, and that's what Matthew's working on it. This is why they have Matthew working on it and not me. I look at this. Okay, Vinge, I wish we had done 5 prototype styles in different colors. Oh, that would have been 5 years from now once we got our first ones. Like, oh boy. Silver sandblasting gives a great finish. Yeah, that was the whole idea behind it. Unfortunately, it does lighten it up, though. We had Vinge. We can't say we could have, would have, wish we had a. All right, we're just gonna have. What do we do next? We do next. Go on to and we move toward what the color we want. Okay, that was on number 2. All right, on number 3, anything on number 3 that you want to talk about? Because now we're talking about the movement, and that to me is the most important and also the most interesting. So, I mean, I don't know, it drives me crazy. Most watch companies will, you know, they what Bremont has been calling. Oh, they fool around something with an ETA movement, and then they called it, well, this is our own in-house movement. And Roger Smith called them out on it and just read them the riot act. And here we are, we're working with a watch, with a movement maker. We want this one, we want this. And so far, this will actually be our 3rd different movement. Now, the difference between the 6801 and 6802 is minimal, but the minimal difference is really some very important improvements. We added, for example, a Straumann balance wheel, and that again, we have that with the Straumann hairspring. That's the same ones that Boot and Lannon uses, MB and F use. I mean, we have all of these great things, and Brightlead is any of their B-rated movements are ETAs or Solitas now. So I think this is why I get very excited about when we get into the process of creating a movement. So and also the dial. I think of course it's important to have a nice dial. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the color of the hands and the materials. The color of the hands here are more of the burgundy, like we had. Oh yeah, Virage. Yeah, I think this is what we did, Virage, and I'm remember the group, the guys who are organizing it provided me with some options, and bless their heart, their options I thought were too high. And so there was another part of the initial offer that were much lower. And so I went with them, and we'll see what happens. And what this would do, and I think it would be great, especially for the sort of solidifying Lyrique as something more than a bunch of fly-by-night kind of operations. We're going to we've committed for doing a 4th one, and that one is from what I see is going to be like having the jumping hours with the retrograde minutes, which would be another very cool watch. And so what they're going to do is that we'll get the first 100, that then we'll pay for the first 100 at the price of 200, And then in December next year, or December of 2024, then we'll make the first payment on the second 100. I hope that was the deal that I suggested to him, and I hope that works out, because then we're going to have, I think, a better price on the movements. This time around on the E3 is that I really want to. We've had time. This is our third watch, and to really do the analysis of where we're spending our money. I thought this is where we really need to spend it. Is one on a movement, and we're getting a new movement. That's a great place to spend it. And the other place is really sort of shoring up the position that Matu's been in, because Matu has been doing something literally with no pay, and that is project management on the Swiss end. So it's I think that was a better place. Now, I think we overpaid on, especially this time around, was on the case and the movement. I mean, not the movement, but on the dial. And so the thing with the case was sort of one of those awful things that happened. But, we had to deal with it. The awful thing that happened was that we had thought that we were going to go with the 6801 with no changes. And so we went ahead with Wooten, Lannon, and Caton and said, okay, that was what we knew at the outset. And then things changed. And so we had to have a whole bunch of stuff redone and added to the price. So that this time around, Matu is going to, we set the price for the case ahead of time. And I think that was a good idea. 950 Swiss francs, which is better than 2,000 or whatever we were paying. And I think we can, if we can't get a really good case for 940 Swiss francs, I don't know what. So anyway, that's what we're going to do this time. And I think we're going to have a really great case. Matu's working on the case design now. And we're going to have, this is something else too. I think Etude number 3 is going to be really our first really uniquely different from the first two. The first one and the second one have the certain things in common. But the third one is going to be significantly different in just about all ways. And I think that's going to be sort of a cool thing. Okay, let's see. Brian, I may have missed it. Have we determined how we're going to proceed on the movement? Option 1, option 2. I think, well, I think what happened, we had those 3 options. One, I forgot what one was. I think one was one was one nobody liked. And this was to have this little 24-hour dial, and sort of for our Zulu time. The second one was to have the retrograde in the middle, and then the retrograde seconds, and then the hour and minute hand in the center. And then the other one was another one I liked, but I liked the middle one better. And the third one was one of those the 3-column tracks, the 3 tracks, and one would be for different times of the day, and so you'd have a 3-armed hand, which is really cool. I like those a lot, but I think the one in the middle was the one I think we finally settled on, because we talked a lot about that, and the first one was, I don't think anybody particularly liked it, and I don't know. I think we had 2 good options, and I think we went with the middle one. Oh, by the way, too, if something comes up, Brian, in the movement, and say, "Look, guys, we ran into somewhat of a problem here." So, that's something that we can't do X or Y, well, things may change a little. So we'll see about that. We had wanted on the first one, on this one, we wanted the small seconds. We wanted it sort of right over the 8 o'clock. And they said, well, that would be hard to do because of good reasons in the way the movement was set up. So we changed it to 8:30. So which just makes it even, I don't know, to me more interesting. So this may happen, Brian. Remember, this is the great thing about it, is that we have a new movement, and I think with, here we have things are checked out with somebody special who knows a thing or two about retrograde movement, and so I think this is going to be very, very interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. But if some changes have to be made because of the limitations of the movement, or it would be a change that would have to be just mucho expensive, we'll take a look and see what they are and make our best options on that. Yeah, Owen. Yeah, I agree. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Owen, definitely. I will ask about that right away. That's a good point. I'd sort of been curious too. I think a lot of it is going to look very similar, but there are going to be some key different things in it. I know that in the keyless works, there was going to be a big improvement that, and then in where else? Oh yeah, and then the balance wheel. So I think there's some key differences, but they're not huge. The other thing too, this is another part. Somebody had asked about this. There was in the Agonggraph, there was the little there was one of the plates or bridges that looked like Batman. It was sort of the outline of of Batman, and they wanted something like that. I said, well, we got the star-crossed lovers and the shooting star and the kite, in our movement. Now, I don't know if they're going to have any more of those or not, or how it will be. I think it would be fun though to have something like that in our movement. Okay, let's see. Yes, but Owen is right. I should get right on that, and something for the book. You're right. Aloysius. So there will be 5 E1N2 special dials editions out in the world. Pretty rare. You bet. That's how come I got first dibs on one. It was, some is that some people howl at the moon rather than looking at one, what's the solution to the problem, and two, what's the opportunity in the problem. So to me, this was a great opportunity because the Horological Society wanted a unique one, and I happen to like the rose one. Yeah, so that's what it's going to be on that one, Viraj. Marco, for the number 4, will the discussion still be open on what kind of complications we want? Oh yeah, it's wide open. Yeah, Marco, it is. Owen, these Easter eggs were cool. Yes, they were very cool. I hope that I'm going to talk to him about that. That's another thing I haven't talked to. The first thing though I want to do is to get the renderings of the AGH 6802. That is important. I don't know if the rest of you know about the book that Owen has done, but that book, Owen made this incredible book. And I think what's her name? Isabel, what's her last name? The woman who is the head of Fiedler Hands. just love that book. And so Owen sent her a copy, and she just loves us, I think, because of that. Fiedler Hands, the more I find out about it, that thing is like a legendary hand maker. And I didn't realize how important they were until I spent some time, finding out about them. If you don't mind translating the French, go to the Fiedler site. It's not like all Watt sites. It's not a very good one, but you can find, I think there's a list of references. And one of the references is to a Patek Philippe magazine. This one's in French, and it has a big write-up about Fiedler. And so it's worth looking at and finding out the quality of what we're dealing with. Hater, knowing Agenor, they always put in little Easter eggs in their movement. Doesn't hurt to check, though, Hater. We want an Easter egg. That'll be fun. Okay, how we doing? Okay, yeah, we made the first payment for the design work. So we're off and rolling on number 6. We've got I'm glad we got the rest of the dial, I think, is magnificent. It's just the color that we got to get corrected in, and Matthew's working on that. So anything else you guys need to know or want to know? I know, like I said, it's Christmas Eve, and a lot of you have family that what are you on your computer for? It's good grief. It's almost noon. Okay. All right, guys. Well, if you celebrate Christmas, have a Merry Christmas. Celebrate the holidays. Enjoy the holidays. We'll see you next time. Take care.